back to 500, and that's always Mike and I were discussing. He said we're going to be in August and September and say they'll be 500. I said I hope we're in August and September and saying they're 500.
Well, if they're in August and September and they're 500, they'll be in a pennant race.
Oh yeah,
right.
They will.
And I hope that's what I hope. I think that's optimistic.
I don't.
You don't believe that? You don't believe that?
No, I believe they can be, but I hope they're not, because I don't think this team gets better by remaining in a pennant race and having that false sense that this team is constructed for long-term success, because it's not. And you're going to be stuck then, well, oh, we're in a pennant race. You want the fire sale?
Well,
no, but if you're in a pennant race, oh, well, we got to keep Cueto. Oh, well, we got to keep Leake. And you got to keep all these guys with expiring contracts, which means they walk, and you're getting a bunch of sandwich picks in the draft next year. I don't think, as constructed, this team can win long term. And while I would like to think that they would be in a pennant race in August and September, and they would be able to be a second wild card, do you really want to kill your future so you can be one and done as a wild card in the playoffs? That's my fear, is that this team will hang around and the owner will say, "Oh, well, we're in the playoffs. We can't make any moves." Then you're really behind the 8 ball for a lot of years to come.
I think 500 is actually the worst case scenario. I think you either lose and you're out of it by the trade deadline, and then you can trade Cueto and Leake and get a decent return. I mean, imagine what the return for Cueto would be.
Sure.
I mean, you could get 3 or 4 pretty close to Major League ready right. players for Cueto at the trade deadline. So I think it's either you're far under 500 and you're out of it, or you've put it together and the young guys in the rotation are playing well. Bruce and Bird play like Bruce and Bird 2 or 3 years ago. Votto keeps it up. Kozar keeps it up. Mesoraco comes back from the hip injury. I mean, if those things happen on the offense, right. I think this team could be pretty good, right. But and could be a very strong playoff contender if those things happen. But there's a lot of ifs there.
Yeah, I think all of that has to happen. And then Elvis has to come back from the dead and sing "Do the Clam," because I don't think that
eat the clam.
I don't think any of that stuff is happening. "Do the Clam" was a very underrated Elvis hit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
From Clam Bake, I believe.
The movie.
I believe so.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Never seen it.
Okay. Alrighty then.
That was like Bill Murray when he used to do
the offense. One of the challenges for this offense is they just don't have that one guy. They were missing the one guy last year when they had Mesoraco and they had Frazier, but they didn't have Votto and they didn't have Bruce producing. So they thought, well, we'll go out and get Marlon Byrd. Well, Marlon Byrd's actually playing pretty well now, but they're not getting anything out of Bruce. So they just and Billy Hamilton continues to struggle at the top of the lineup.
So
yeah.
why don't they play Bosch? I think Bosch would be a great player if he got to play every day.
He's hitting like 130.
I know, but he doesn't play. Yeah. Like in spring training, he played.
He's hitting 130.
I know, but but in the spring when he got to play, him and Negron killed the ball. They were the best players on the team.
And Negron's hitting like 150.
I know, but they don't play every day. Well, so send Bruce down and let Bosch play. I mean, he's got speed. He can field. He's you know,
he hit like 40 homers to AAA last year.
Yeah,
that order.
That's
the
my
lineup
opinion.
Though was all out of Jack, like you were saying earlier. You know, you got guys like Kozar who are actually driving the ball, and they're they're in the 7 hole, 8 hole. I mean, that's you got. And then Hamilton can't get on. He's batting first. He keeps hitting first every game, and he can't even. I think one time he got a bunt down. We're still talking about bunting with this team, and I think if we can bunt, we probably win 3 more games right now.